What's up, folks? How's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Samsung Galaxy Active. This is their latest generation smartwatch that's oriented towards more the active person, hence the name. So if you're looking for a new fitness companion, something to track your calories, hopefully help you lose a little bit of weight, which I'm actually trying to do myself, this might be a good solution. We're going to actually do a direct comparison between the latest generation Apple Watch, the Series 4. We actually have the Nike Plus version over here, which is the most sports-oriented watch to date. So without any further ado, let's get right into this. Now, in terms of design and form factor, the Galaxy Active is very similar to the previous generation Galaxy watches that Samsung has been producing for the last couple of years. So it's a circular design, 40 millimeters in terms of overall size, and compared to the 40 millimeter version of the Series 4 Apple Watch, it's slightly lighter and thinner, but not by a huge margin. Only weighs about 25 grams versus the Apple Watch is around 30 grams and measures around 10.5 millimeters in terms of thickness versus the Apple Watch is around 10.7 millimeters. Now, like the Apple Watch Series 4, the Active is swim and water resistant, so you can actually go down up to 50 meters underwater without having any major issues. And the glass on the face of the watch is using Corning Gorilla Glass DX Plus versus the entry versions of the Apple Watch like we have over here with the Nike Plus model comes with ion strengthened glass, and you can upgrade to sapphire crystal glass if you want even better durability and a nicer face. Now, in terms of color options and accessories, both Apple and Samsung give you a few options. In terms of color, you can get the Apple Watch Series 4 in silver, gold, or space gray. The Galaxy Active has even more color options, including silver, black, rose gold, and green. And the cool thing about both of these is you have pretty much limitless band options and accessories. Obviously, Apple has been using this band design for many generations, and there's tons of options out there, both from Apple and third-party manufacturers. And on the Samsung, you can pretty much use any 20 millimeter interchangeable band design, which again are pretty much limitless in terms of the options and styles that are available right now. So definitely great customization features on both platforms. Now, moving on, in terms of displays, both have super bright OLED panels. In terms of size, we're looking at 1.1 inch display on the Samsung versus 1.57 inch display on the 40 millimeter version of the Apple Watch Series 4. The resolution is 360 by 360 on the Active, the same as we've encountered with the Galaxy watch just a few months ago, and we're looking at a 324 by 394 pixel display on the Series 4. Now, the color rendering and overall brightness of both displays are stellar, definitely on par with each other. They're great to use indoors, outdoors, in darkly lit environments where you definitely need a less bright display. They're very adaptive and excellent in terms of viewing quality. Internally, the Active is using the same exact architecture that we encountered with the Galaxy Watch. They're using a dual-core Exynos 9110 processor that's clocked at 1.15 gigahertz. We have 4 gigabytes of internal memory and about 750 megabytes of RAM. We have the Apple S4 dual-core processor on the Apple side, and that's using a Power VR GPU inside there as well. In terms of general speed and usability, I would definitely say that I did have times where the Samsung Active kind of hung up on me, and certain applications had a hard time loading, and multitasking is certainly more of a challenge due to the interface that we'll talk about in a little bit. On the flip side, the Series 4 is one of the most powerful smartwatches to date. It's super snappy. You can run multiple different things in the background, and due to the optimization, both in terms of hardware and software, since Apple controls everything, you're going to have a pretty stellar, seamless experience without any major lags or hiccups. Now, in terms of connectivity options, both have a GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, which includes mobile payment options on the Samsung side with Samsung Pay and Apple Pay on the Series 4. Both are excellent conduits for mobile payment options, and definitely a lot more handy and convenient compared to using your phone to tap onto a point of sales transaction. Now, the key thing about the Active is that it's mostly designed to be kind of a fitness companion, and one of the reasons perhaps Samsung took out the rotating rotating bezel is to kind of lighten the overall form factor and to make it look a little bit more sleeker, although it definitely takes away from the user interface and the overall ease of use through navigating through the Tizen platform. I really thought that the bezel was one of the big selling features of the previous generation Galaxy watches, and unfortunately we don't have that. You're going to basically use the touchscreen, which is okay in terms of responsiveness, but due to the fact that the screen is so small, does make it a lot more finicky to use. And one of the great things about that digital crown interface and the slightly larger display we have on the Apple Watch, it definitely has a more user-friendly user interface and experience. I definitely like using the Apple Watch a lot more than using the Galaxy Active. Now, both of these two are really fitness companion pieces. Certainly the Active is geared towards that task, and it's using natively their Samsung Health app, which allows you to choose from a whole bunch of different exercises and movements. It'll basically track the time or duration of whatever you're doing and track your heart rate actively to determine how many calories and things like that. It's fairly rudimentary. It's definitely not as guided as something like the Nike Run Club app that's built into this version over here. And for running, hands down, this completely destroys anything the Samsung is offering right now. The Run Club app is really well developed, hugely established. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do with it, whether that's running indoors, outdoors. It does an excellent job of tracking your route and making sure that you have all your vitals information in terms of pace, calories, distance, everything like that. Super well laid out, and for runners this is definitely a no-brainer compared to the more rudimentary system that we have over here. For me, I'm mostly going to do a little bit of light jogging, a little bit of running. I'm going to try to do that every day, so I would definitely choose this for that. But for the thing that I want to get good at, which is resistance training, specifically in terms of powerlifting, which focus on the big three compound movements: squat, bench, and deadlift. It's not really a huge cardiovascular exercises, and it's mostly you're training a skill to get stronger. But I definitely use a smartwatch during my training sessions in order to track the reps, sets, and overall rest times. And most of the time, the rest times are quite long, since you're not really training your cardiovascular system, you're training your central nervous system and how well you execute the movement. So it's definitely a skill-based thing, and really I don't really need anything too fancy for that. So in that situation, I would rather have the cheaper option, and this, because it costs half the price as this, this would be an ideal solution for that. But definitely you can make your arguments. This has the better user interface, certainly the more well thought out smartwatch, better integrated with the iOS ecosystem, versus this is a lot more rudimentary. But again, for getting your notifications done, responding to test messages and things like that, it's perfectly fine. One huge, again, downside is if you are into voice dictation or using voice commands, really Siri destroys Bixby. Bixby is pretty darn unremarkable in pretty much every way. It's not really that handy, not very powerful, and you probably want to either use some sort of Google Wear device or go with an Apple Watch in that sort of instance if you really need a powerful voice assistant. The last thing we want to talk about is a battery performance. Now, in terms of battery capacity, we have a 230 milliamp hour battery on the Active, and the Apple Watch Series 4 has a battery capacity of just slightly under 300 milliamp hours. Apple guarantees somewhere around 18 hours of real-world usage versus Samsung claims 45 hours on the Active. In real life, I never got anything close to 45 hours on the Active. I managed to get about a day and a half at best, and maybe about a day with the Apple Watch Series 4. And especially if you're using the heart rate monitor a lot in both of these, you're definitely gonna just basically get throughout the day. And that's pretty much guaranteed. You might have situations where if you're heavily using it, you might struggle to get even throughout the day on the Apple Watch side versus the found that to be pretty difficult on the Active. So the battery life is fairly mediocre on both platforms, but slightly better on this thing since it doesn't require that much power to begin with, smaller display and things like that. But besides that, guys, that's really it. Hopefully you like this video. I'd definitely love to hear your thoughts about the Samsung Galaxy Active. Are you interested in getting a new smartwatch, perhaps something more fitness oriented? Definitely love to hear your thoughts and choices on what you think is the best option right now. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later. Take care.